Incredible 8-year-old girl saves abandoned twins in the snow billionaire's heartwarming secret. Amidst the swirling snowflakes of a frigid winter night in Maplewood, 8-year-old Emma dashed through the drifts, laughter bubbling from her lips. But fate had a different plan for her that frosty evening. As she explored the shimmer of white that cloaked her small town, a sharp cry pierced the biting air, a sound so small, so desperate, it tugged at her very heart. Bursting through the cloud of snow, she stumbled upon a sight that froze her blood. Twin infants, swaddled in tattered blankets, their pink skin nearly lost against the cruel white as they shivered in the cold. Emma's heart raced. The weight of their fragility crushed her, but fueled by an overwhelming urge to protect, she hurried forward. Every second felt like an eternity as she carefully gathered them into her arms. Their tiny bodies trembled, their faces scrunched in confusion and fear. "You're safe now," she whispered, her voice a soft promise that soothed the chill in their bones. Shock met delight as she pulled her scarf tighter around their small forms, her breath steaming in the air. The twins rallied in her embrace, their cries subsiding as warmth poured from her love. Her modest upbringing as the child of diner workers had taught her the value of compassion and bravery, lessons now put to the ultimate test. Emma sprinted home, through the swirling snow, determination sculpting her face. The news spread like wildfire. Heroic Emma saves abandoned twins. The town gathered at the diner. Her parents, exhausted from their daily grind, stood in wide-eyed disbelief. They watched as townsfolk buzzed, fingers pointing, eyes curious, and whispers of admiration mingled with skepticism. Yet underlying that excitement was a current of trepidation aimed toward Mr. Thompson, the mysterious billionaire who lived on the town's outskirts. He was shunned by many, his past draped in shadows that clouded the perception of his humanity. Before long, fate intertwined Emma's and Mr. Thompson's paths. She discovered him wandering, his face etched with loneliness. "You can help," she exclaimed, her innocent hope radiating. Emma nudged him toward the twins as whispers of reduction in division formed at the diner. Yet, the town's air thickened with judgment as rumors circulated about Mr. Thompson's darker deeds. But Emma stood firm. "He is not just a rich man. He is helping," she pleaded. Her heart swelled with fervor as she faced the gathering crowd, urging them to see past the glitter and grime and embrace transformation. As emotions surged and anger crackled in the air, she stood at the podium, eyes ablaze with hope. "We can be better." The townsfolk were mesmerized. Her small voice loomed larger than their doubts, slicing through division, binding them together. Just as a collective sigh ignited the whispering crowd, a chilling revelation slithered through the shadows of Mr. Thompson's past, hurled doubt back in their faces. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Emma's figure flickered in the dim light, a silhouette of innocence against the rising tide of fear. Each face in the crowd held stories, some heavy with prejudice, others bright with admiration. "Will they embrace the hope I offer?" Emma whispered to herself. The path to change stood at a crossroads, with the stakes higher than ever. Would they join her in healing the jagged wounds of their past or retreat to the comforting shadows of their biases? The air crackled with tension, hearts pounding, hope hanging by a fragile thread. The crowd held its breath. Emma's heart felt like it was going to burst. She glanced at Mr. Thompson, who stood off to the side, his expression a mix of bewilderment and something deeper, despair or maybe regret. He didn't look like the monster the town painted him as, and deep down, Emma hoped the townsfolk would see that too. "What if I told you he is not just a billionaire?" Emma called out, her voice gaining strength. "He is a person who once felt lost, just like the twins outside, just like some of you. We've all been abandoned in one way or another, haven't we?" A murmur rippled through the crowd. Emma's words dripped with vulnerability and truth, anchoring her tightrope walk between fear and bravery. The wind whipped around her, as if nature was holding her in its embrace, urging her to fight. Someone from the back shouted, "He's just using them to clean up his image." There were scattered nods, the dark clouds of doubt thickening again. "No," Emma cried, her chest heaving with emotion. "They don't need his help just to look good. They need love, and so do we." Her fingers tightened around the podium. "Yeah, Mr. Thompson has money, but what does that mean if nobody cares? What does it mean if nobody believes in him? I believe in him, and I believe in all of you. We can change the story." A pause hung heavy in the air, pregnant with potential. Faces softened, some hardened with time began to melt. Emma caught sight of a woman in the front row, tears glistening on her cheeks. A flicker of connection sparked in the crowd, a recognition of their shared humanity. "Hold on a minute. What do we even know about him?" That voice came from Andrew, a lifelong Maplewood resident with a reputation for quick judgment. Just because a kid says he's all right doesn't make it true. Emma felt like the ground was shifting beneath her feet. But what if we got to know him? What if we gave him a chance to show he can be part of our community? The audience was swaying now just a little. Some exchanged glances. Others crossed their arms, still suspicious. As Emma spoke, straining against the wind gusts around her, she noticed something shifting in Mr. Thompson's posture. His shoulders straightened. He stepped forward, and for the first time, Emma saw a glimmer of hope in his eyes. "Maybe it's time I shared my truth," he began, his voice low but resonant, cutting through the tension like a lighthouse on a stormy night. The crowd quieted, captivated by this sudden turn. Emma felt a surge of encouragement. She stepped back, giving him the floor. He took a deep breath, each word weighing heavy with the past. "Yes, I've made mistakes. I lost my way. But I want to help, I want to be better." Gasps echoed from the crowd. Murmurs shifted from skepticism to curiosity. Emma's heart raced. Could this be the turning point they needed? As Mr. Thompson laid bare his intentions, explaining how something as small as nurturing those twins could begin to heal his soul, Emma sensed that a shift was happening. Hope crackled in the air, forging connections that had long been severed. But before he could finish, a loud crash echoed from the direction of the diner. A figure burst through the door, panic painted on their face. It was one of the waitresses. The twins. They're gone. Emma's heart dropped. The promise of a brighter future, fragile as glass, was suddenly shattered by chaos. She turned, and the eyes of the crowd met hers, filled with shock and disbelief. What would happen next? Would she be able to rally the community again? Emma stood frozen at the podium, the weight of hope and fear wrestling within her, setting the stage for a battle no one saw coming. Emma felt the wind chill race through her, biting and harsh. The crowd's quiet terror echoed back to her, making her skin crawl. She swallowed hard, trying to gather her thoughts. Mr. Thompson's words had sparked a glimmer of something. She couldn't let it die now. "Everyone," she shouted, her voice trembling but rising above the uncertainty. "We need to search for the twins. Now." She started to move, almost instinctively, feeling the pull of the town behind her. Every second felt vital. The thought of those innocent ones lost in the winter darkness nagged at her heart. But Andrew stepped forward, glaring, as if trying to pull the community back into fear. "This is why we shouldn't trust him. If something happens to them, enough." Emma's voice pierced through the doubt, demanding attention. "This isn't about him or his past. It's about those twins. They need us. They need you. We can't let fear keep us from acting." Her determination seemed to ripple through the crowd. A few nodded, others hesitated, but she pressed on. "Help is out there. We just have to look. Who's with me?" She scanned the faces in front of her, searching for any sign of unity. Mr. Thompson stepped up beside Emma, his demeanor unexpectedly steady. "I'll help too," he added, voice unwavering. "Whatever has happened, we'll find them." He lifted his chin, locking eyes with those around him, hoping to convey sincerity. Rumors flashed through the crowd. eyes widened in disbelief. A mix of anger and curiosity bubbled. Emma could see small shifts. People began to step closer, almost inching forward, heightened by that desperate sense of purpose hanging in the air. One by one, hands raised, voices murmured agreement. Let us search. We have to do it together. Together, they moved like a single entity, rushing towards the diner. Emma felt fingers brush her arm. It was the woman with the tear-streaked face from before. I'm coming, she whispered fiercely. The townsfolk spread out, breaking into groups. Emma and Mr. Thompson led a contingent toward the snowy park, where she hoped the twins might have sought shelter from the cold. The snow crunched loudly beneath them, filling the air with an urgent rhythm. As they reached the park, the sight of the empty swings unnerved Emma. They could be hiding anywhere, she muttered, scanning the area. A chill sharp as a knife ran through her. What if they didn't find them? She had dared the town to believe in love over fear, and yet here they were, faced with the darkest version of what could happen. Suddenly, from behind a snow-covered boulder, a faint whimper reached her ears. Emma's heart leaped. Over there, she shouted, dashing toward the sound, her breath hitching in anticipation. The crowd followed, hearts racing. Emma pushed aside the branches, and there, huddled together, were the twins, wide-eyed and shivering but safe. Relief flooded through her like warm sunlight breaking through clouds. Just as Emma reached for them, she felt a wave of uncertainty sweep over her. What if their struggles were deeper than this? Just then, Mr. Thompson stepped forward, kneeling beside the kids. Hey there, he said gently, his voice laced with warmth. You're safe now. We'll take care of you. But Emma watched the twins flinch, their tiny bodies trembling as they stared at the billionaire as though he were a ghost. With the memory of the earlier chaos looming, what did this moment really mean for them? Mr. Thompson, wait, she cautioned, her heart racing again, battling between hope and a new, creeping fear. What if they don't want to come to you? What if they don't trust? Before she could finish, the weight of the moment fell silently between them like a looming shadow. Would they truly find a way to bridge the gulf created by past mistakes? And deeper still, was Emma's insistence on compassion enough to heal them all? Or would the dark echoes of fear come crashing down again? The answers felt miles away, and one thing remained clear: the story was far from over. Emma knelt in front of the twins, her heart pounding as she felt the weight of their fear pressing down. She saw their wide eyes flicker nervously between her and Mr. Thompson, confusion lining their tiny faces. Kneeling low, she whispered, "It's okay. We're not here to hurt you. We're here to help. Can you tell us your names?" The little girl, her dark hair matted with snow, finally found her voice, though it trembled. "Shay," she said, clutching her brother's hand. He looked no older than 5, and his dark eyes brimmed with worry. "And you?" Emma prodded gently, encouraging him and hoping to draw them out of their shell. "Sam," he whispered, his voice so quiet Emma nearly missed it. "Shay and Sam," she repeated, drawing closer, careful not to startle them further. "You're both so brave. Can you tell me what happened? How did you end up out here?" As the twins exchanged glances, Mr. Thompson shifted beside Emma, visibly uncomfortable. The gaze he locked onto the children was heavy with concern, but the fading light of the afternoon softened his expression. Emma held her breath. Shay took a moment, biting her lip, then spoke in a rush. "We were playing, and then we got lost. We just wanted to find our way back home." Home. The word hung in the air, weighted with a mix of yearning and loss. Emma's heart squeezed at the mention. She couldn't help but wonder what home was for the twins, and whether they had someone to welcome them back. "It's all right. We're going to make sure you get back safe," she assured them, sensing Mr. Thompson shift again, an undercurrent of tension rippling between them. "Promise?" Sam piped up, his voice breaking slightly, the smallest hint of hope flickering in his eyes. "Absolutely. I promise," Emma replied firmly, the conviction in her voice genuine. Mr. Thompson's brow furrowed as he processed the situation. "I can help arrange for no," Emma interrupted, the word bursting from her lips before she could hold it back. The twins flinched again, and Emma realized her reaction could heighten their fear. "I'm sorry. I just mean, let us take it slow. They need to feel safe first." She turned back to Shay and Sam, and despite the frigid air, she felt warmth swelling in her heart. "Do you want to sit with me? We can talk while we figure things out for you?" The twins nodded, their bodies inching closer. Emma smiled gently, hoping to melt away the walls of fear surrounding them, while Mr. Thompson stood quietly beside her, casting lingering, concerned glances toward the children. Emma focused on the twins, turning her back to the billionaire. The rest of the townsfolk lingered just beyond, whispering among themselves, a precautionary barrier of villagers unwilling to trust easily. Andrew stood slightly apart, arms crossed, still wary, while others listened intently. She felt the invisible web of community woven tighter, all staring at this moment as if it held the key to their own fears. "Okay, how about we create a plan?" Emma suggested. "I'll go get some hot chocolate for everyone. That'll warm you up. What do you think?" The twins perked up, and she noticed their tiny hands relax just a bit. "Chocolate?" Shay asked, half smiling as she hugged her brother tightly. "Exactly. And I'll bring back some blankets too," Emma added, her determination solid. "But first, I need you to trust me. Can you do that?" They nodded again, a flicker of trust igniting in their eyes. Before stepping away, Emma glanced at Mr. Thompson. "You can help, right? Just stand here with them?" She could see uncertainty shimmering in his eyes. His past was not forgotten here, but it was worth a shot. He inhaled sharply, but then gave a small nod. "Of course." As Emma took a few steps back towards the diner, she couldn't shake the feeling that the path ahead was fraught with more dangers than snowstorms. These children had been abandoned in the cold, both physically and, perhaps, emotionally. What were they really leaving behind? With each step she took, the unease settled back in. The twins needed her. So did her community. But the looming shadow of mistrust from Andrew lingered, casting doubt on how everyone would react when all was said and done. Just as she reached the edge of the park, the sound of a crunch echoed behind her, unmistakable and abrupt, bringing her heart to her throat. She turned, ready to face any new fear that stirred in the shadows. And that was when she saw a flash of movement above the tree line, a silhouette darting back and forth, seeking something. Her heart raced. What was out there? What else could unfold tonight? Emma took a deep breath, the chill of the air bracing her for what was to come. She couldn't leave those twins behind when they needed her most. But was she ready to confront whatever lurked in the dark? The story was only beginning. Emma squinted into the darkening tree-line, her heart pounding louder than the rush of the wind. The silhouette flickered again, just beyond the reach of the last glimmering light. Her instincts screamed at her to turn away, to run back to the twins and usher them to safety. But something deep within held her in place. Was it fear, curiosity, or a call for bravery that she couldn't ignore? "Emma?" Mr. Thompson's voice broke through her thoughts, laced with uncertainty. She steadied herself, unwilling to show her apprehension. "Did you see that?" she asked, barely above a whisper. He nodded, his expression mirroring her own mixture of concern and determination. "We should get the children out of here." "No," she said, shaking her head with a fierceness she didn't feel. "They need hot chocolate. They need blankets. Most importantly, they need us." Emma turned back toward the twins, who were still huddled closely together, their small forms trembling against the cold. "I'll be right back," she called out to them, her voice more assured than she felt. "Stay where you are. We're not going anywhere." As she walked towards the diner, Emma shook off the chilling sense of impending danger. The warmth radiating from the building was inviting, and she could almost taste the chocolate already. She glanced over her shoulder and caught a glimpse of Mr. Thompson kneeling beside Shay and Sam. It was a strange sight, a man who had always seemed so distant from their community now down on their level, sharing in their fear and concern. The chatter of the townsfolk buzzed softly in the background, but Emma couldn't focus on it. Her mind was racing, thoughts jumping from the fears of the twins to the mysterious figure from the trees. What if the children weren't safe here? What if someone or something was out there lurking in the shadows? She stepped inside the diner, the familiar smell of coffee and pastries wrapping around her like a warm blanket. The old clock on the wall ticked steadily, a reassuring sound amidst the chaos swirling in her mind. The diner was almost empty, save for a couple of townsfolk seated in booths, their heads bowed together in hushed conversation. Hot chocolate, right? She called to Miriam, the owner, who was polishing a set of glasses behind the counter. Miriam looked up, her brow wrinkling with concern. Is everything all right outside? Emma? Emma hesitated, pulling her thoughts back from the treeline. The twins are a little scared. Just need something warm to drink to help them. Of course. I'll make it extra special, Miriam replied, moving quickly to prepare the hot cocoa. As she waited, Emma's mind drifted back to Shay and Sam. Their little faces filled with fear pulled at her heart. What had those kids been through? There was more to their story, she was sure of it. When she returned to them, she was determined to learn everything they were willing to share. Miriam handed her steaming mugs, and Emma felt relief wash over her. Thank you, she said gratefully, grabbing a stack of small towels to act as makeshift blankets. As she stepped back outside, the biting cold air hit her like a splash of ice water. The horror of what lay beyond was still present, but the twins were waiting. They needed her. But just as she approached, a sharp yell split the quiet night. Emma, get back. Andrew's voice echoed, a note of urgency pulling her attention sharply. She whipped around, dread pooling in her stomach as the movement in the trees escalated into a figure breaking free, sprinting toward them. Emma's breath hitched. What she began, fear clawing at her throat, but the sight stopped her cold. Run! Andrew shouted, eyes wide, as the figure drew closer. Emma's heart raced. With no time to think, she grabbed the twins' hands, their tiny fingers trembling in hers, and started to run, unsure of what awaited them just beyond the safety of the diner. What had they stumbled into? Would she be able to fight whatever was coming for them? The night was just beginning to unfurl its secrets, and Emma was determined to face them head-on. Emma felt the world blur around her as she sprinted, adrenaline fueling her every step. The sound of footsteps pounding the ground behind them grew more menacing with each passing moment. Shay and Sam clung to her, their little bodies shaking uncontrollably. She could hear their shallow breaths, frantically escaping through trembling lips. Where do we go? Sam whimpered, his wide eyes reflecting pure terror. Emma couldn't spare a moment to contemplate their next move. The diner had provided safety just moments ago, but it felt like a lifetime away now. Over there, the tree line, she shouted, pointing toward the shadows that loomed ahead. We can hide. Drawing in a deep breath, she led them off the path, feet crunching against the frost-covered leaves and hidden branches. The cold bit at her ankles, but the warmth of protecting the twins wrapped around her like a lifeline. She pushed deeper into the dark embrace of the trees, urgency clawing at her once more. In the shadows, she turned to assess the commotion behind them. The figure bounding through the trees seemed to shift between the branches, sometimes appearing to be a man and other times something more sinister. Panic twisted in her stomach. What is it? She whispered, looking down at the twins. Emma Shay's voice trembled. I want to go home. Me too, Sam echoed, his small body quaking in fear. Turning back to the directions they were heading, Emma forced a smile, though her heart felt like it might shatter. I know. Just a little further. We'll be okay, I promise. They continued, ducking low beneath reaches of branches that seemed eager to snag at their clothes. Every sound, a rustling leaf, a snapping twig, sent her heart racing. It was as if the forest itself was alive, holding its breath along with them. Suddenly, the muffled thumping of feet grew closer. What if it's dangerous? Shay stammered, eyes wide with fright. I don't know, but we have to trust each other. Stay quiet. Emma moved further into the thicket, urging them onward. She had to believe that whatever was chasing them wouldn't follow them so deep into the woods. Just as they reached a small clearing, Emma halted. The shadows had pulled away slightly, revealing moonlight filtering down like soft silk. She crouched low, pressing her back against a sturdy tree trunk as her heart thudded in her chest. "Listen," Emma whispered. "We need to stay really quiet." The muffled footsteps faded, and for a moment, a fragile peace settled over them. She could hear the twinkling of distant stars and the gentle sway of the wind through the branches. But it only lasted for a moment, as soon the quiet was shattered by a chaotic crash, making her jump. The figure had split the tree-line, eyes wild and frantic, and they locked onto them in an instant. "Emma!" Andrew's voice rang clear, cutting through the tense silence, followed by the reassuring sounds of more footsteps. "We're here. We found you." Emma's heart surged, a mix of relief and confusion pooling within her. As Andrew emerged from the darkness, he was followed by Mr. Thompson and several other townspeople. "Get behind us," he shouted, stepping forward protectively. But just as Emma felt the tide of hope rising within her, the figure shifted once more, darting toward them like an arrow loosed from a bow. Emma swallowed hard, dread gripping her throat once more. "Who is that?" she gasped, glancing around nervously as she felt Shay and Sam tighten their grip on her. "Stay close to me," Mr. Thompson urged, stepping up, but the figure was gaining on them fast. Emma sensed the weight of the moment, the chaos just beginning to unfold. What would they face next? Would they be able to uncover the truth before it was too late? The moon hung high above, casting a silvery glow that did little to pierce the depth of the forest. Emma felt a flicker of hope when Andrew and the others finally reached them, but it quickly vanished as the figure lunged forward with a ferocity that sent her heart racing. "Get back!" Andrew shouted, moving to shield the twins with his body. The figure halted, chest heaving as it caught its breath. Emma strained to get a closer look. In that moonlight, the outline became clearer, a tattered coat and scruffy hair, but the eyes, they were full of anguish and desperation. "Please don't hurt me," the figure rasped, pleading. It was a woman, frail and bedraggled, as if she'd been running for days. Emma felt a pang in her chest. The fear she felt replaced with a surge of compassion. Was she just a victim like them? "Everyone, stand back," Mr. Thompson commanded, stepping forward cautiously. "What's your name?" "Grace." The woman's voice cracked, her gaze darting between Emma, Andrew, and the twins. "I didn't mean to scare you. I thought they were after me." "Who is?" Emma asked, although she wasn't sure she wanted to hear the answer. "Men in black jackets, they are hunting people. They want to capture us," Grace stammered. Emma's heart sank. This was worse than she had imagined. She exchanged glances with Andrew. They were thinking the same thing. "Why would they be hunting you?" Grace hesitated, panic flickering in her eyes. "I saw something I shouldn't have. They won't stop until I'm Emma." Shay's voice shrieked, cutting through the rising tension. The little girl was trembling, her small hands shaking in Emma's grip. "I want to go home." "Shay, listen to me. We'll get home," Emma reassured, but her own voice felt unsteady. The weight of the moment pressed heavily on her. Andrew knelt next to Shay and Sam. "You two stay close to your sister, all right? I won't let anything happen to her or you." Emma's heart lifted slightly at his words. They needed to regroup, but the reality loomed. They were still in danger. The forest echoed with whispers of the unknown, shadows shifting just beyond the reach of the moonlight. "Grace, you need to come with us," Emma urged, dread pooling in her stomach. If this woman was telling the truth, they had little time. "We can figure this out together." "Are you crazy? She brings them close to us." Andrew shot back, eyes darting to the thick trees encircling them. "She is scared. Just like us," Emma argued, her voice rising in emotion. "If we leave her, what happens then? What if those men come back? We can't turn our backs on anyone now." A tense silence hung in the air. Emma could hear her heartbeat, and those of Shay and Sam beneath the overwhelming fear that threatened to engulf them all. "Let us go," Mr. Thompson suddenly snapped, breaking the deadlock. "We can't stay here any longer. We need to move." As they began to retreat deeper into the woods, the shuffling and whispering returned, each pulse of sound a harbinger of a threat that hovered just out of sight. Emma held onto Shay and Sam tightly, her heart racing not only with fear but with the weight of their uncertain futures. With Grace in tow, they navigated the darkness, vulnerable and exposed. Ahead, a distant flicker of light broke through the branches, promising safety, but also a crossroads. Would it lead them to security or further danger? Are we going to make it? Sam's small voice broke the silence, pulling Emma from her thoughts. She glanced at the flickering light, swallowed hard, and chose her words carefully. Together, yes, we can do this. But as they moved forward, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that they were being hunted, as shadows lurked just beyond their sight, waiting for the perfect moment to strike what awaited them at that light. Would it be a sanctuary or a trap? They hurried toward the light, each step seeming to echo in the tense silence. The flicker transformed into a steady glow, illuminating a clearing just ahead. Emma clenched her jaw, heart thudding. What if it was a trap? What if those men were waiting, hidden in the shadows? Andrew looked back at her, his expression serious. We'll take it slow. Keep your eyes open. Okay? He nodded at the twins, who were holding hands tightly to draw comfort from one another. Shay squeezed Emma's arm. I'm scared. Her small voice quivered, but there was determination in her eyes. It's okay to be scared, Shay. Just remember, we're together, Emma whispered, hoping her words would be enough. They forged ahead, light spilling into the clearing. As they stepped into the open, Emma's breath caught. In the center stood a small cabin, its windows bright with the warm glow of lanterns. Smoke curled from the chimney, curling into the night sky. It looked so inviting, so safe, yet so out of place in this haunting forest. Should we risk it? Andrew asked, glancing around as if expecting someone to spring from the shadows. Maybe they can help us, Emma suggested, uncertainty threading her words. Or they could be the reason we're being hunted, he countered. But deep down, both knew they had little choice. Let us just check it out. We're running out of time, she urged, feeling desperation rise. With hesitant resolve, they approached the cabin. The door creaked open before they knocked, revealing an older man with shaggy hair and eyes like cold steel. What do you want? He barked, voice gruff but tinged with curiosity. Please, we need help, Emma urged, her voice breaking slightly as she glanced over at Grace, who looked entirely worn out. Help? What kind of trouble are you bringing here? He narrowed his eyes, taking in their disheveled appearances. Men, they're chasing us. They want to capture us, Grace managed to say, her voice cracking. His gaze softened for a moment, and he stepped aside. Come in. I can't guarantee your safety, but you can't stay out there. They filed inside quickly, the heat from the fireplace enveloping them like a hug. Emma felt the warmth seep into her bones, the anxious tension in her shoulders loosening just a little. Suddenly, a loud knock reverberated through the cabin, chilling the moment abruptly. Everyone froze, fear flooding the air, thick and suffocating. Do you hear that? Sam squeaked, eyes wide with terror. Andrew's expression was grave as he turned to the cabin owner. Who is it? Just some folks I owe money to. Not the kind to treat lightly, the man replied sharply, tension coursing through him as he hurried toward the door. Emma's heart raced again. The shadows were closing in. They couldn't afford to be found now. Wait, she said, grabbing his arm. They'll know we're here. The man paused, staring her down. I'll handle it. You all stay quiet. Emma's nails dug into her palms as they huddled together. Uncertainty swirled. Could this cabin truly be their refuge? Or would it become their worst nightmare? Just then, the man opened the door and a voice boomed from outside. We know you're in there. Hand over Grace and no one gets hurt. Emma felt her stomach drop. There was no turning back now. What are we going to do? Shay whimpered, clutching Emma tightly. Stay calm. We'll think of something, Emma whispered, feeling more uncertain with every passing second. But deep down, she realized there was no time for second-guessing. This was the moment they needed to fight back, to protect one another. What were they willing to risk for safety? And would they find the strength to face the unknown together? The tension in the cabin was palpable. The air felt thick with uncertainty as everyone held their breath, waiting to see how the cabin owner would respond. Emma could feel Shay's small body trembling next to her. Grace clutched Sam's hand a little tighter, and Andrew's brow furrowed with worry. "Listen," the man said, his voice now lowered. "I'll buy you some time. When I say go, you all need to slip out the back. Understand?" Emma nodded, her heart racing with equal parts hope and fear. Just as the man turned towards the door, a loud crash resonated from outside, followed by more angry shouts. "Open up now or we'll break it down. Get ready," the man hissed, then yanked the door open. "Where's the girl?" the voice from outside demanded, the men standing strong, shadows bristling against the light. "She's not here," the man shouted defiantly, his voice breaking slightly. "You want trouble? You're looking in the wrong place." Emma's breath caught. This man was risking himself for them, and it threw her off balance. "Then you're useless to us," came a sharp response, after which came the sound of footsteps pounding against the wooden porch. They were coming in. "Now!" the cabin owner yelled. Without thinking, Emma grabbed Shay's hand and motioned for the others to follow. They sprinted toward the back of the cabin, heartbeats drumming in unison, fearful whispers trailing behind them as they glanced back. The moment they reached the door, they all pushed through. The cold night air slapped them in the face, a stark contrast to the warmth inside. Emma could barely feel her legs moving as they dashed past the trees, adrenaline flooding her veins. "Over there," Andrew shouted, spotting what looked like a dense thicket of bushes. "We can hide." They dove into the thick underbrush, hearts racing, breaths coming in ragged bursts. Emma's mind spun with worry. What if they were found? What if they made it out alive only to be caught again? The sounds of the men were growing distant, the harsh commands replaced by an oppressive silence that felt heavy on their shoulders. The tension eased slightly, but fear still gnawed at Emma's insides. She could feel every thud of her heart as they pressed together in the darkness, trying to catch their breath. "Are we safe?" Shay whispered, her voice shaky. "For now, yes," Emma reassured, though she wasn't entirely sure if she believed it. They had escaped, but for how long? Suddenly, a flash of movement caught Emma's eye, a shadow moving away from the cabin, deeper into the trees. "What was that?" She breathed, the words barely coming out. Andrew squinted, straining to see. "I don't know, but we can't stick around to find out." They held their breath, terrified that their pursuers would sense their presence. As the moments dragged on, Emma's mind raced with plans and possibilities. They could be free, if only they could make it back to the road, to safety. But then came noise behind them, a crack of a branch, the whisper of leaves stirring. The darkness suddenly didn't feel so safe. They all turned in unison, anxiety writ large on their faces. "We need to move," Emma urged, her heart pounding again, this time with fear of the unknown that was lurking nearby. With unsure steps, they began to crawl toward a deeper part of the woods, needing to find a place where the shadows could protect them. But as they did, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that they were not alone. What if the figure wasn't a threat? What if it was someone who could help or lead them to safety? Or was it a new danger waiting to pounce? The forest closed in on them, a tight grip of shadows and uncertainty. Emma's breath quickened as she felt the weight of her heart, the frantic rhythm echoing in her ears. They had escaped one danger, but now another lurked just beyond their vision. "We need to keep moving," she urged again, feeling the urgency pulse like a heartbeat within her. Shay and Sam flanked her, their hands clutched tightly together, eyes wide with fear yet still holding trust. Andrew stayed close, his protective gaze scanning for any signs of danger. "Where do we go?" he asked, his voice low but steady. "We can't just wander aimlessly." Emma inhaled deeply, summoning all her courage. "Let us find a place to hide," she said decisively. "Somewhere high, maybe where we can see if anyone is following us." Nodding, they pressed deeper into the woods until they stumbled upon a sturdy tree with sprawling branches. Together, they scrambled up the low-hanging limbs, climbing high until they were nestled among the leaves, hearts racing. From their perch, They could see the clearing below and catch their breath. The moon cast a silver light over the forest floor, and for a moment, the group sat in silence, trying to process what had just happened. Emma glanced around at their faces. Each one told a story: fear, weariness, and a flicker of hope lingering in the air. Shay peeked down through the branches. "What do we do if those men come back?" She whispered, her tiny voice barely making a sound. "We stay together," Emma replied, determination burning in her chest. "And we fight back if we have to." Sam, still trembling, looked up at her with wide eyes. "How can we fight them? They're bigger than us." Emma hesitated only for a moment. "They may be bigger, but we have something stronger. A reason to protect each other." Andrew added, "And we have our voices. If we get the chance, we warn others. We have to let them know what is happening." Just then, rustling sounds broke the silence, sending shivers down their spines. Emma's heart skipped a beat as fear ripped through her. She peered down from the branches, eyes wide, searching. It was Grace. It appeared she had followed them into the trees. Emma felt a rush of relief. "Grace, up here." She beckoned as the woman approached, a determined glint in her eyes. When Grace reached the base of the tree, she began to climb. The branches creaked under her weight, but she steadied herself, determination shimmering. "I'm not leaving you. We need to stay united." As Grace joined them, Emma felt a renewed sense of strength pulsate through their small group. They could be scared, yes, but they could also be powerful together. Suddenly, a low growl echoed through the trees. The sound rumbled around them, and the tension thickened like fog. They all froze, hearts pounding. It was not the men. It was a large dog, dark and massive, emerging from the shadows. "Get back," Emma shouted, instinctively shielding Shay and Sam behind her. She felt adrenaline swelling and her heart thumping on both fear and hope. But instead of attacking, the dog halted at the tree, its head cocked, a friendly glimmer in its eyes. Emma could hardly believe her own eyes when the dog wagged its tail, snuggling up to the trunk as if inviting them closer. "Is it friendly?" Andrew asked, uncertainty coloring his voice. Before they could reason further, the dog barked, eager and excited, and that broke the tense silence. It seemed to want their attention. Emma slipped cautiously down the branch, her heart still racing. "Come here, big buddy," she called, her voice hopeful. The dog responded, bounding forward as it recognized another friendly face amongst the fear. Emma reached out cautiously, and the dog pressed its wet nose against her hand, the warmth flowing through her palm, feeling almost like a reminder of safety. "Maybe he can help us," she murmured, feeling a strange connection form. Just then, feet thundered in the distance. Alarm surged through her. "Quick, up the tree," she urging everyone to retreat to the safety of the branches. In an instant they scrambled back up, the dog following, eager as ever. They all sat quietly, listening intently as footsteps grew louder. Grace's anxious breath brushed against Emma's wrist, and Andrew exchanged knowing glances with Emma. "I can't believe we've become part of this," Grace whispered. "But I don't know how it ends." Emma squeezed Shay and Sam's hands tighter, a sense of resolve binding them. "I'll do whatever it takes to keep you safe. We're more than just survivors, we're family now." As the footsteps closed in, suddenly it dawned on Emma. "Wait, this is our chance." She turned to the others, heart racing with excitement. "We can use the dog." "Use him how?" Andrew asked, brows knitted with confusion. "To lure them away." Emma felt the rush of energy, mostly heightening desperation, morphing into determination. "If they're following the dog, the twins," Andrew interrupted, urgency driving his voice. "They can't deal with more adults lurking around right now. They already saw so much. They'll be okay." "They're with us," Emma assured. "We keep them together. For now, we use the dog to create a diversion." With quick, decisive motions, they climbed down just enough that Emma could use a branch to gently coax the dog away with a small treat she fished from her pocket. A seemingly harmless distraction that could turn the tide of their survival. The dog obediently followed the treat, darting off into the darkness. Emma turned back to the group. "Now, let us go." With a shared determination, they moved silently toward the edge of the trees. As they stole away into the night, Emma felt a flicker of hope illuminating the path ahead. The woods were dark, but together they were more than capable of facing anything that lurked in the shadows. "Are we gonna make it?" Sam asked, still holding on to Emma's hand. Emma looked back towards the faint sounds of men following the uproar, her heart full. "Yeah, we will," she promised. "As long as we're together, we'll find our way home." Hope surged anew in her. They weren't just surviving, they were standing up for one another, turning fear into a drive to protect the family they had forged. They were ready to fight for their stories, their futures intertwined against the backdrop of the cold forest. Though they might not know what awaited them, one truth lingered. This journey was just beginning, and they were not alone. As they slipped into the embracing night, past the shadows that whispered danger, they carried with them the power of choosing love over fear, ready to embark on a shared destiny that they could carve together. And this was just the moment to rise. Make sure to stay with us, because this is just the beginning of their beautiful story. Now, if you felt these emotions flowing through you like a wave, a call to what matters, you need to subscribe now. This moment is crucial. Hit that like button like you mean it. It feeds the algorithm, and we want the world to see this transformation and what it means. Comment below how you felt, what you're expecting next, or just send love out into the universe for Emma, Shay, Sam, Grace, and Andrew. And don't wait not even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear this message of hope and resilience. We need to spread this positivity like wildfire. Together, let's champion the message and light the way for the next great adventure.